Hey, good Sunday afternoon, everyone. It is the last day of November 2025, and on the heels of what I guess I would call it our first winter weather maker. It really didn't amount to much, kind of a nothing burger for most of southern Illinois back on Saturday. Not too far away, just to our north, though, it was a big winter storm. So maybe underperforming in some of southern Illinois, and I would say mainly areas across the Route 13 corridor where we thought maybe a dusting was possible. Further to the north, they did have some light snow, Mount Vernon, back over, say, towards Pinckneyville, enough to cause a coating on some roads and cause a problem or two for a few hours, kind of fading away. And that's the big storm system that you see here on the map, now making its way into the northeast. And around here, we're going to turn our eyes out to the west as our next storm system starts to get its act together. And it looks like that next one could send a little more winter weather our way. It is going to be colder for this next one, so I am anticipating that we are going to at least see some wintry precipitation out of this, but once again, not a big winter storm by any means for us. So I at least want to get that out there as we are not anticipating major impacts, nothing like that with this next storm system. So let's time everything out. A good part of the daylight hours on Monday will be dry. There's some dry air in place. So even though you might see snow out to our west showing up on radar, it is going to take some time to make its way into southern Illinois. And you'll see the model kind of picking up on some of that. The dry air down here at the ground level kind of breaking some things up. I will say the one exception to that could be right along the I-64 corridor where we could see the snow start just a little earlier, talking mid to late afternoon. Elsewhere, further to the south, it is going to be likely late in the day and possibly even into the early evening hours before some of the winter weather makes it into the area. I know you're seeing green on this map, kind of ignore that just a bit. We're really going to focus more on the winter weather here. And again, notice it takes a little while for some of this to get its act together and really get in here. This is just fighting a lot of dry air, and that may cut down on some of the winter weather, or at least the snow projections as well. But by about 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, that's Monday evening, we should start seeing some light wintry precipitation make its way in. I really think initially this is going to start possibly as some freezing rain right along the Ohio River, say from Cairo to Paducah, maybe also mixed in with some sleet in those areas. Further to the north, we may see a little sleet as well in Carbondale, Murfreesboro, Marion, Harrisburg. I don't think it's going to stay sleet for very long. Further to the north from that, say from anywhere from Benton to Mount Vernon to Pinckneyville, expecting mostly snow out of this next one. And eventually it's going to fill in as some colder air starts to work its way in. I do anticipate it all to turn over to all snow, but by the time it's doing that, well, this system's kind of exiting to our east. So it is a real quick in and out storm system, not a lot of moisture available here in our area. And even after midnight, notice how quickly the winter weather gets out of here. So again, just not expecting major impacts from this next storm. But I do anticipate that we could see maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow in a few areas from about Sparta, Illinois, over towards Mount Vernon, maybe over towards Wayne City and Fairfield as well. Further to the south, it's going to be less than an inch. I really think much of the area is probably going to see a dusting, but I have a feeling a lot of places are going to be less than an inch, mainly on grassy surfaces. Untreated surfaces, we could see some slick roads develop. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. So as far as the projection goes, late Monday night through Tuesday morning, less than an inch of snow and sleet for most of the area. The one exception could be the I-64 corridor. Now, because of temperatures being a little colder here, I do have some concern that we could initially at least see some slick roads develop, especially early Tuesday morning. So here you go. Light snow, sleet moving in primarily Monday evening. More sleet to the south, more snow to the north. So again, I-64 corridor, likely more snow. Further to the south, closer to the Ohio River. May even see some freezing rain mix in. Could change to all snow. Do expect that likely around midnight or so, late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. In, out of here quickly, so not expecting major impacts. But here's why I have some concern about slick roads developing. Initially, as we see the winter weather moving in, temperatures are going to be right around that freezing mark, all right? But the sun is going to be down. So even though we have a lot of cloud cover around, we do get some solar radiation that helps during the daytime hours, warm the roads up just a bit. But because this is going to be at nighttime and because temperatures are going to be falling below freezing, I do have some concern, especially into the overnight hours. Notice as temperatures continue to get colder. So from midnight to 3 a.m., we see temperatures go from about freezing back into the upper 20s. That's going to start causing some issues with anything that's developed on the ground level. And then by 6 a.m., we're still talking about temperatures back in the low to mid 20s. So it is going to be cold enough to stick, and especially on, again, untreated surfaces, we're talking rural roads, things like that. I think it's possible that we do see some slick travel develop in some areas early Tuesday morning, and that could lead to a few school closures here in the area. So that's something to consider and kind of planning out your week. I talk to a lot of superintendents. I never tell them, hey, you should cancel school, but I think it's possible that we could see a few school closings early Tuesday morning. Once the sun comes up Tuesday, temperatures start to come back up, start getting a little solar radiation, so things will start to improve very, very quickly. So again, just not a big weather maker for us. Of course, we appreciate all these weekly videos. We've done a couple of them this week, but these are brought to you from Clark Mix On-Site Concrete and Concrete Pumping, located on the east side of Marion. There's their number, 618-997-3889. So appreciate them covering these videos. Again, Clark Mix On-Site Concrete and Concrete Pumping, located in Marion. You can save money, and they mix right there where your location is, so they will save you some time and save you some money. All right, we are keeping an eye again on another storm system possibly later in the week. So yes, there's a lot of talk about the one earlier in the week. There's another one possibly towards the end of the week, and this is just where I want to remind you that when we are winter weather forecasting, there is a lot of social media buzz. There's a lot of folks that post every model run out there, and it's because, well, they want to try to get people really excited, and they want to try to make money as well. That's how this all works. However, we need to really be cautious for some of those others out there because, well, there's a lot of folks that are going to be posting big snow totals, and as we get closer, they get lower and lower and lower. And that's just how winter weather forecasting goes. So again, I just want to kind of throw that caveat out there. It's been really a busy winter, especially on social media. And if every storm system played out like it was projected 10 days out, we'd have a lot of snow. And of course, here in Southern Illinois, we know that that's not always the case. All right, so let's look ahead to the next one that's later in this week. Primarily focused on, it looks like late Thursday night and into Friday. There is still a lot of question how much moisture we're going to see, how big this storm system is going to be, how warm it's going to be. Some of the modeling is projecting temperatures above freezing and seeing more rain versus snow. Some models are more winter weather. So it is something to keep an eye on here as we go throughout the week. Right now, this one does not have me too excited, but it is something to keep an eye on. Of course, you can track all of this with the Nick Hausen weather app. We had some winter weather advisories issued earlier this afternoon. You get that push notification right there on your phone. That's free for download on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Otherwise, stay warm, stay inside if you can. I know it's tough this time of year. We start getting this gloomy, cold weather, and early December looking very active with multiple chances